I think it's time to put them in their place. I'ma have to set them straight. You don't know me, you don't know where I'm from, or what I had to do to get this plate. Hey, let me paint a picture. Everybody dissing, acting like it wasn't cool to listen. Now look at me. I say now look at me.
Well, hello everybody. My name is Ruben Licea. 39 years old, from the streets of San Antonio, Texas, born and raised. TDC number 1142047. And the reason being I say that is because that number I had to live by, because it wasn't a name that we went by in there, you know. But when we did go by names, we went by nicknames. And mine was Rue Dog, as in R-U Dog. And I've been on a journey, you know, from all my life, you know. But before we start all this, I want to thank God for blessing me for another day and giving me another chance, giving me hope and a future. Again, I want to do this in honor of my mother that just recently passed away, August 5th, 2020. My mother battled with dialysis. She was diabetic, and unfortunately she caught the COVID, and you know, it cost her life, you know. But my mother, I want to honor her with this testimony, this story I'm fixing to tell everybody. It's going to be a story worth listening to, and I just, whoever I encourage, or whoever I inspire, or whoever I touch, you know, even if it's one lives, a million lives, you know, as long as I touch one soul, that's all that matters, right? Again, you know, being incarcerated was another journey, you know, that I took. Given an 18-year sentence, I served 15 years of that 18, you know. And as anybody knows that's ever done time before, you know that place is hell on earth, you know. But with God's mercy, grace, and love, He pulled me through this. I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm a true man of God, you know. I would love to be a faithful servant, but right now I'm a servant of Christ. I need Jesus in my life in order for me to be where I am today, because, again, after serving 15 years in prison, I had a lot of time to think. I had a lot of time to write. I had a lot of time to read. You know, just gain knowledge and understanding, because given that a third grade education that I had, you know, school was never my best thing, you know. I was rebellious growing up. You know, my mother, she went through a lot with us. And it's just something I feel that's been in my heart to always share everything I've ever been through, so I can inspire somebody to change, you know, because it took me many years to finally find change. And now that I have it, you know, it's a gift, and I appreciate it, you know what I mean, with all my heart. So far as I could take you back from my childhood to know my understanding or how I grew up, you know. Again, I was born and raised San Antonio, Texas, north side. But growing up, it was rough, you know. We lived a life that many people live right now, struggling, you know, not having anything to eat, you know. But no matter what, you know, my mother worked as much as she could, did her best to provide for me and my older sister, Jeanette. You know, I grew up to always see a lot of things, and I saw my mother struggle, but she had never ever gave up, you know what I'm saying? And her passing's been a wake-up call for me, because it's been tough, you know. I remember for all them years that I was in prison, my mother, you know, she stayed there by my side, you know. Every letter, every picture, every postcard, it was always in the mail. And I do have proof for that, you know. Later on I'm going to show y'all, so y'all can know what I went through in there. I always tell my people, just because I was never in the pictures doesn't mean that I wasn't the one taking them. I watched them grow up when I was in there, you know. 15 years later, I get out and I got to reunite with my family, and things change. People change. Uh, it was while I was in prison after serving 13, 14 years. I finally found the love of Christ, and I'm gonna share that testimony with you later on because it's something worth listening to because God really changed my life when I was in the walls, And at that moment, serving, the enemy for all them years, I was eventually I was initiated, and I developed the organization in there, and I grew big in it, and to the point where I was the leader. But with that responsibility comes a lot of different things that takes me to different places. That I don't want to be at, be uncomfortable with, but I have to do what I have to do to survive. They say it's a jungle in there. So only the strong survive. So anyhow, before I get into all that, growing up again to what I was talking about, that my mother, she was my mother and father, because my father, he wasn't in the picture for so long, but he winds up coming into my life many years later. And it was until the age I was 20 years old, my mother runs into my father, my biological father, and she tells me, hey, listen, I ran into your dad, and I want you to, after 15 years being gone out of your life, I want you to just reunite with him, and at that time, any son that has never had his father there, there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of, doubts, from frustration, it's just all kinds of different feelings and emotions, But the very first one was hate. I hated the man, I hated to bear his name because I'm junior to him, Well, anyhow, so my mother talks me into seeing him, so I meet up with him, and so I reunite with him, and my first question was like, hey man, where you been at all these years, And at that time, I just told him that, look, man, I just wanted to let you know, like, I never needed you in my life. I grew up to be a man, I started, hustling and getting into, the motions of having survive out here in this world, And then it's this crazy story, man. One day I was on this hotline, I seen that this psychic person, so I call, and at this time I was kind of leaning on some drink, and I was smoking weed and all that, but so I called this person just thinking it's gonna be a joke, So the lady's like, look, ask me anything, what I'm saying? I was like, all right, so what I mean? I tell her, so what's gonna happen in the future, like, what I'm saying, like, tell me what's gonna happen to me, And she's like, well, look, I'm gonna tell you, there's 3 things that's gonna happen. She said, you're gonna meet your father again because you haven't seen him in so long, and it's gonna be good because you see him again, and y'all gonna be, y'all gonna wind up coming together, and just getting to know the relationship that y'all had. Y'all gonna try to grow it back together, So, and then she tells me, well, something bad's gonna happen involving your father, and you're gonna be put away for a little while, or she says that you're gonna go away for a little while, and she says, but there's a good ending to it. Like, things are gonna happen, like, good in your life. So at that time, I was like, all right, cool. So not even a week later goes by, that's when I see my dad. So, all right. So as soon as I saw him, I remember that conversation with that psychic person. So at that time, I thought it was coincidence, right? So again, me and my father start, talking again and stuff. He start coming over more often and stuff. Well, at that time, I'm chilling with the boys. What I'm saying? At this time, I'm partying every day and just living the thug life of that lifestyle in the streets, So one day we're drinking on some beer and all that. So he's like, hey, can you take me home? I was like, yeah, we gotta take you home because we're fixing to go hit this lick. Now this lick, it means, it means robbery, what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna go rob somebody or something, So when he heard that, he's like, what do you mean? At this time I have a 357 Magnum. My other brother got a 22, and we just like to go stick up people, We never intended to go and hurt anybody or kill anybody, We just wanted to just, either do a beer run, a gas run, or just empty out the teller, what I'm saying? A beer run is when you walk into the store and you grab whatever beer you want and you run out the store with it, what I'm saying? gas runs. You fill up your gas tank. At that time, they used to turn up the pump. They didn't have to pay before you pump, so you fill up the pump and he just burn off. That's what a gas run is. And so anyhow, so we used to do that, and I saw that being a fast way to make money, having to rob, stick up people and all that. And when I told my father that we were gonna go do that lick, he was like, "Nah, I can't let you go." Oh, but before that, the reason why he was never there for the 15 years is because he had just done some prison time himself. And that's when I kind of I forgave him, that's when we started talking again. Go to this store that I was well known as, because I lived not too far from that store. And I used to always, the guy that I knew there, the teller, he used to always let me do little gas runs, He didn't care, because I used to work at the Blockbuster Video down the street, and I used to give him videotapes and stuff, For y'all that don't know what Blockbuster Video is, that's when Netflix took them out. But anyhow, it's VHS, DVDs, all that good stuff, movies. So anyhow, we used to do exchanges like that. He let me do gas runs, whatever, beer runs, and I'll just give him some tapes and all that for return for that. So anyhow, so I see him working that day. Hey, well, we're good. I know this dude. You're going to let us get away with it. And I just wear a little, what do you call them hats, man? They're like berets. So I got this beret on, and I walk up in that store, and we both have guns. And, we hold up the guy. We take off with the money. Detectives start questioning that guy. Start saying, "Hey, look, we know that guy. You know him because he always comes in here. And we see him pull in the store all the time. He's always talking to you." So he's scared. The detective scared the guy. He wanted to tell him I work at the Blockbuster Video. So guess what? Bam, they come looking for me. So eventually they catch me. And at this time, this is in 2001 of August. And so I don't know anything about how the system works, It was my first time ever being convicted, as an adult, So they asked me questions. They're like, "Okay, well, who's the other guy that was with you?" and all this. And I'm like, "Man, look, I'm not saying nothing, because I grew up like that, We call it the G code, which is, hey, you don't be doing no snitching, You hold it down. If you get caught, you own up, you take the rap for whatever, right? That's the understanding we knew growing up, So I go to jail, and they move me to this pod, and I walk in this pod, man, and I saw all these group of guys in the corner, all these Mexicanos, Mexicans, and they're just there watching me, looking at me, and I'm young, So I'm chilling on the table, and I already know what time it is, Like, if something goes down, hey, you got to be prepared for it, So, because I heard things and stuff, so these guys walk up to me, and they're like, they got homie, we got a homeboy I want to holler at you real quick. And when they say homeboy, that means, one of their, their the superiors, or, the gang leaders and stuff, the guys in charge, or you call it, So I'm like, all right, cool. But I told them guys, tell your boy that he come holler at me down here. I'm not gonna go up there. So they go and tell him whatever. The message come back, and they're like, "Hey, man, he just want to holler at you, bro." You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, just know who you are, So I'll shit. It's do or die, I'm saying? I'm like, all right, cool. So I get up. I walk up the steps. As soon as I walk up to the cell pops open. I walk up in the cell. Guess who I see? It's my dad. And at this time I'm solo. You know what I'm saying? I don't rock with nobody. I'm from the streets, So I see him, and I'm like, "What's up, man?" I said, "Why you got all these little, minions over here trying to holler at me for? What's up, bro?" And he's like, "Nah, man, I'm just checking up on what happened, man." And he's like, "So what they talking about?" And I was like, "Look, man, they wanted to see who it is that was with me, and they talking about, since, they just want all this stuff." And I'm like, "Nah, man, I ain't giving up nobody, So, I took the rap for it. Never said one word. And so then I was out on bond. My grandmother, man, she bailed me out. The little money she had, you know what I'm saying? $100,000 bond. 10% of that's $10,000. My grandmother's scrounged up every little cent she could. And she got me out, right? So I get out, and I started working again, man. I started working at this place called I started working at Chick-fil-A. And I'm working there for a little while. And things get a little tough, you know what I'm saying? Because if y'all know, fast food joint, it don't pay nothing, you know what I'm saying? And here I am, like, I used to be in the game, in the streets, selling drugs and all that. You know how much money you can make doing all that, so I decided, man, this ain't working out for me. Like, I'm busting my ass for what? Jump change, you know? I can't get a place of my own. I can't have my own nice car. I can't have none of that working at no fast food joint, you know? So I decided to pick up that gun again, you know? And this time I get a crew with me, you know? And this crew that I have, you know, these are close family and friends, you know what I'm saying? And one day, you know, my mother's husband at this time, he comes up to me. He's like, man, we don't have no money for rent. You know what I'm saying? They're fixing to kick us out. So I'm like, and this was on New Year's Day. But before we get into that, I'm gonna back up a little bit on that day. So I wake up early on New Year's Day. After New Year's Eve, we partied hard. So the very next day, my mother calls me up early and she's like, "Mijo, come spend the day with me." You know what I'm saying? I mean, you couldn't spend it with me yesterday, but spend it for me today. You know what I'm saying? New year, new day, you know. So I said, "All right, Mom." So I'll do that for you. So she picks me up. She's like, "I'm going to take you to your stepdad. You know, he's making barbecue and stuff." So I'm like, "All right, cool." Well, on the way over there, my mother just asked me the question. She's like, "So how you been?" And growing up, crying was hard to do. There was no way you could. You know, you shed tears, you know what I'm saying, a sign of weakness, you know. So I was like growing up to think that, you know, so I held a hard heart, you know what I mean? It was hard for me to shed tears, you know. So at this moment when my mother asked me that question, I felt like something just penetrated my heart, you know, and I just turned away and started just bawling, crying, man. I don't know what came out, you know what I'm saying, but I was just tired of living that life, you know. And my mother's like driving. She's like, "What's going on?" You know, and I'm like, "Nothing, Mom. Like, I'm good." You know what I'm saying? And so we get to my stepdad's house. You know, he fixing up some barbecue and everything. So I guess my mom talks to him on the side. So later on, he comes up to me. My pops Frank. He also passed away too, man. 2 weeks before my mother passed away. So he always loved my mother. Anyhow, I'll get into that later on. But my pops Frank, man, he comes up to me. He's like, "What's up, mijo? Like, talk to me. What's the deal?" You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, "I'm good, Pops. What's up?" And he looks me in the eye. He's like, "Nah, talk to me." And I said, "Pops, I don't know what it is, man. I have this gun. And every time I put it into my hands, it takes me somewhere. It makes me do things that I don't want to do. I see people with nice things and I want that. And I don't know what it is. It drives me to see somebody draw fear in their eyes. It pumps me up, you know what I'm saying?" So he listens to me for a little while, and after all said and done, he looks at me in the eye. He says, "Well, you know what you need, right?" I said, "What's up, Pops?" He says, "You need the Lord in your life." When he said that, I was like, "What?" Because my pops was never a religious man, you know. I'm like, "What you mean, Pops?" He's like, "Yeah, man. You're battling with a demon, a spirit. It's taking you away, you know what I'm saying? It's making you do things you don't want to do, you know what I'm saying?" So at this time, I kind of just, I blow him off. "All right, Pops, whatever." So we head out, and we go back to my mom's place, and by this time, I get a page from my bro, you know what I'm saying? I used to have pagers. If y'all don't know what pagers are, them youngsters, back in the day, they used to have a little device, and you would call, and you know, you would put your number, and it would like beep them and let you know what number it was that was calling in and needed to message you and all that. So that's what a pager was back in the day. So anyhow, I get this page, you know what I'm saying, from my homeboy. We just partied the night before. So we get back to my mom's. She sits on the couch. I go straight to her phone, and I dial my buddy up. I'm like, "What's up, bro?" He's like, "What's up, homie? Like, we partying over here, man. What's up? You down or what?" And I'm like, "Nah, bro. I'm gonna chill with moms and them. You know what I mean? Like, I'll get at y'all later on." He's like, "But man, old girl's here." And I remember this one female. I can't remember her name. But I used to always try to want to get at this female, you know, and he's like, hey, old girl's here, man. You want to holler at her? I'm like, for real, she's there? He's like, yeah, bro, come on, dog. We got the dope. We got the, you know what I'm saying? We got the girls. We got everything, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, all right, bet, bro. I'm going to be over there, you know? And all this time, I look back and I see my mother just staring at me, you know? And she's giving me that look like cabron, like, what are you doing, you know? So I get off the phone and my mom's like, so what's going on? You know what I'm saying? You leaving? I was like, yeah, Ma, I'll be back, you know? I remember this clearly, man, like to this day. She's like, mijo, no, you're not gonna come back. She says, if you walk out through that door, you won't be coming back soon. So please don't leave. And I kind of just like, at that moment, you know how youngsters could be at that moment, you know, nah, Ma, I'll be back. You know what I'm saying? I'll holler at you. And she's like, you know, her mama would say, better come back. After many years later, even after my mother's passing, you know, I always got to remember that. Better come back. Because I remember May 17th, 2016, I came back better. Because throughout that journey in my life, that day came, and right before I was going to leave to that party, that's when I have a conversation with her husband. And he tells me, yeah, man, we're fixing to get booted out. You know, we don't have the rent. I'm like, what? I said, you know what, man? Take me to my boy Richie's house. So he takes me. I pick up a couple of my buddies. And we go. We go anywhere we can that's open. I don't care what it is, a store or anybody on the streets that look like he got money. You know, we're doing what we got to do, right? Well, this particular night, you know, me and my buddy, so we park the block away from the store, you know, and we walk all the way up there and, you know, put our gear up, our bandanas and stuff. Hey everyone, again, get ready for part 2 of this lifestyle of mine. Hope I can encourage those, inspire those. Just knowing that this story I'm fixing to tell you, it's a roller coaster ride. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you take it in. And any comments or anything that you want to reach out to me about, just reach out to me. Again, this is something that's going to help those that are out there lost in this world, that's come from the walls, and knowing that there's hope in the name of Jesus. So stay tuned. Again, this is something to take in, and I won't disappoint you. So stay tuned. All right. God bless.